Hey, Rebel Rouser. I'm Alan Voivod, and this is Star Wars 7x7. We're at episode number 1718 today. Thank you so much for joining me for it. Thank you so much for subscribing to the show if you're doing that too, and thank you so much to all the patrons who have helped make this podcast show up for you on a daily basis through their support at patreon.com/SW7x7. And if you're not a patron, I hope you will consider doing that as well. Today we are doing our Resistance briefing on No Escape Part 2. This is episode 21 from Season 1 of Star Wars Resistance, and we are officially moving past the Force Awakens space, or at least parallel to it, depending on how long you think the the finale lasts. And this is a full spoiler episode. The show premiered last night on Disney Channel, and it's been on the app for a day or so. So if you do not want the episode spoiled for you, then save my show for a later date. But if you're okay with me telling you how everything has turned out, and also the cliffhanger that we've been left on, then, or actually multiple ones, then stick with me and we will break it down for you. So part 1, as you'll recall, ended with Kaz and Torra witnessing a transmission where they saw the First Order's firing of Starkiller Base and the destruction of Hosnian Prime, which is obviously affecting Kaz and his ability to think through things initially, because it's not just, his family, it's his friends, it's everybody he knew, everything he grew up with, it's the seat of the Galactic Republic as well, it's all of it. And Torra has to say, I'm so sorry, but we gotta keep moving, because of course the mission in this very short-term, immediate moment is to free Yeager and Captain Doza and try to get the station out of the hands of the First Order once and for all. And so the plan to do that goes well enough. It involves flushing the First Order troopers out of the station, quite literally, like flooding strategically various corridors and shutting doors in other places so that they can get ported out into the deep blue sea and eaten by various sea creatures and whatnot. So that pretty much works out, except for the fact that there are, First Order leaders, including Agent Tierney and Commander Pyre, who are saying, yeah, let's just get off of this platform and let's call in reinforcements, which they do. And it sets up the showdown for the soul of Tam Rivora. And yeah, this is one of the shocking things about this episode. I swear I was pretty sure that she was going to ultimately say no to the First Order and walk away, but she does not. She actually goes with the First Order. And so we've set up some really interesting conflict potential and drama for Season 2 of Resistance, because Yeager and Kaz and Torra are pleading with her to stay, and the indoctrination and manipulation that Agent Tierney has laid on her with the First Order, it's worked, and so she's going with them, not without some apparent bit of regret, it looks like, or some bit of remorse. There's definitely an emotional connection that still exists, and yet she made the choice to the First Order. So obviously that regret or remorse is more about, I can't believe that they lied to me and I cared for them, and yeah, I'm out of here. So that's going to be a really interesting thing to see develop in Season 2. It means that not only are Kaz and Yeager and the rest of the Colossus folks going to have to encounter the First Order again in Season 2. Well, I guess they kind of would anyway, but probably specifically they're going to have to encounter Tam as some sort of First Order pilot, and more to the point, fight against her. And as far as it being a season finale, of course, some various plot threads are tied up in neat little bows. For example, we saw in an earlier episode that the pirates had intercepted Kaz's distress signal, and so they show up in this final fight at a very opportune moment. And the same goes with Aunt Z and Hype Faison, who had escaped from the platform in the episode that disappeared, and now they return again to help out at a crucial moment. And I will say one of the thrills about the episode is the fact that they have an extended dogfight sequence, which is really well handled. And there is you as I guess is sort of par for the course with the animated series. I don't know if it was really the case with Clone Wars exactly, but certainly it was with Rebels, where various villains met their doom at the end of a given season. In season 1 of Rebels, it was the Grand Inquisitor, and this time it is Major Von Rag, the red-suited TIE fighter pilot, who ends up getting lit up by Kaz right when Von Rag thinks he's got Yeager in his sights. So, yeah, there you go. There's our First Order death, our villain death for Star Wars Resistance, the major one, comparatively speaking. And I will say it's rather a shock when reinforcements show up. You see TIE fighters, and you didn't think there were that many TIE fighters kicking around, and you think those are the reinforcements that Pyre has ordered. But when a Star Destroyer jumps into the system and starts bombarding the Colossus, you're like, oh my gosh, this might not work. This plan might not actually work. And yet it does to some degree. There is something that has gone awry about it that is another part of our cliffhanger situation for the end of the episode and of the season of Star Wars Resistance, and we'll talk about that momentarily because there's a little bit of information from a previous episode that bears on this one, and I'll explain in a moment. I just do want to remind you to subscribe if you're not doing that already, and I hope you will also consider supporting me in delivering this daily dose of Star Wars joy to you, and as I prepare to really ramp it up for you for Star Wars Celebration, and, you know, all that good stuff. Join me, please, at patreon.com/SW7x7. So the base that they are heading for, the Colossus, is able to jump into hyperspace, and Kaz gives coordinates for Niku to program in. Now, the thing of it is that Leia had said, you know, if you can get away, meet us at our next base. And you think that that's not going to be Dakar, but it turns out that that is the case. So apparently they weren't at Dakar yet, at least according to, you know, the way that I would have heard the transmission from Leia a couple of episodes ago to meet us at our next base, Dakar. So as they are jumping away and you find out that they're going to Dakar, it opens up the questions in your mind of, oh my gosh, when are they going to arrive at Dakar? Because, you know, they're going to have to spend some time in hyperspace. And is it going to be before the battle? Is it going to be after the battle? Or are they going to arrive at Dakar and see the aftermath of the bombardment by the First Order? Don't know. Don't necessarily know. But it turns out that Niku did not get to program all the coordinates in before they had to leave. Otherwise, they would have gotten totally blasted apart by that Star Destroyer. And so they are either going to be near Dakar or, as he puts it, unfathomable light years away, which almost makes it sound like Star Trek Voyager, where they're going to have to end up spending all of season 2 trying to find their way back to the known part of the galaxy. It would be kind of interesting if they end up jumping into the unknown regions and having to find their way back out of it, because that, of course, would mean that they would probably encounter the First Order a number of times in the midst of it. But this sort of became a brand new show because it is no longer planet-based. It is now space-based. And I think ultimately that's probably one of the best things about this finale is that it is, by all appearances, going to utterly and completely shake up the formula of what we might have expected from this show. I mean, Rebels, you kind of knew, you know, sort of the premise of the thing, but we really have no idea where this is going to go with season 2 and onward. So a lot to look forward to, and Celebration Chicago, maybe we'll learn a little bit more, hopefully so. But for now, that is going to do it for our look at the finale of Season 1 of Star Wars Resistance. That's No Escape Part 2, Episode 21 from Season 1. And that's going to do it for my show here today as well. Thank you so much for joining me for it, as always. And may the Force be with you, wherever in the world you may be.
This podcast is not endorsed or sponsored yet by Lucasfilm Limited, Disney, or 20th Century Fox. It is intended for entertainment and information purposes only. Star Wars, the Star Wars logo, all names and pictures of Star Wars characters, vehicles, and any other related Star Wars items are registered trademarks and/or copyrights of Lucasfilm Limited or their respective trademark and copyright holders. May the Force be with them. All original content is copyright 2019 by Star Wars 7x7. We hope you love it.